Welcome. Today we are taking a deep dive into the musical career of Skylar Pendergast, the beginning, the middle, and eventually leading us to what's happening today, the story behind Planet ZEE, and the creation process behind two of Southern Illinois' most breathtaking characters, the stories behind the mixtape Saga, leading up to the album Zenith, and where this long journey has taken him today. This documentary was made by 700 Films, with association from Leaders Radio. If you enjoy this video, like, subscribe and leave a comment on who you would like to see us cover next. Be sure to hit the notification bell as well. That being said, let's begin. Skylar Pendergast is an artist from the Southern Illinois area who began making music at the young age of 9, experimenting with drums and keyboards, as well as guitars as was given to him by his mother and father, who were also musically talented. The Southern Illinois area contained a prominently thriving music scene at the time. Skylar's father was the guitarist of the popular local band 4MJ. As years would go by, Skylar began to learn more, even performing with the band at local shows and competing in talents shows in the area. He was awarded first place in the DuQuoin State Fair for the years 2004, 2006, and 2009. He also appeared in the town's newspapers and on former rock station 103.5 The X with his father's band. The music scene was wide and had various talents in multiple genres. Learning all of these talents came with a toxic reward though. It's documented in his music that schooling was very traumatic. Skylar would keep himself in his room, often missing school days just to isolate and be alone. He would pass the time working on his dream of creating music, discovering a program called Audacity and all the features it came with, also producing for his friends in the area. It was at this time he found himself experimenting with drugs and alcohol. Skylar left school in 2013 after years of bullies and the declining effort in his schoolwork. He spent the years in school journaling his feeling, thoughts and experiences he had seen in times past. After learning to put his dark imagination into song form, the engine began to roar. He would spend the next decade of his youth creating art, writing, and producing songs. Fast forward to the year 2016 and Skylar's world was at its lowest point. At this time he was addicted to methamphetamine, cocaine, alcohol and marijuana. He had lost the connection with his firstborn daughter and depression was at an all-time high. Tainted Love, the debut/demo mixtape, was Skylar's first solo project. "20 songs influenced by the stylings of Suicide Boys, Young Lean, and Seven Dust, who were huge influences on him. It was clear he had not found his voice yet. Skylar has admitted to not liking this project, as he was under the influence on every song. He sounded, in his own words, uncomfortable and almost unsure why it was ever released. On the track If the Pain Goes On I'm Not Gonna Make It, Skylar ends a Coldplay sampled track with an intoxicated tirade, ending the tape's confusing and disturbing playthrough. The mixtape had almost no live shows or music videos behind it, but still remains on SoundCloud under the hashtag Tainted Love profile. After the disappointing experience with Tainted Love, Skylar rushed back into his homemade studio to begin recording a second tape. Wake was the second attempt to say what was on his mind, but entertained as well. The area had began to pay attention and support what was happening. Skylar had collaborated with local artists such as J. Miko, Donnie Poe, J. So, Lil Smirk, T-Lo, and Cash Shots. These 7 artists became the local rap group known as Red Beam Money Team. The group began to collaborate on future projects. Some of the side songs Skylar released in this time period were Flea Like ZEE, a tribute to his daughter, and the slow disturbing track Acid Pilot, the story of a nightmare he had involving love and danger.
How can one man live when no one forgives? It's all revenge. How must you back it up when you've turned your back to all your friends? Why say that you love me, but they want it all to end like everything I love does. Fuck it.
Shortly after this time, the Red Beam crew was hit with shocking news. Cash Shots, a talented artist and founder of Red Beam Money Team, was tragically taken from us. The news of this loss deeply affected the crew, and they felt they didn't know how to recover and continue without him. Skylar later took a vacation to the New York-Vermont area, and with this vacation, Skylar recorded and released the song Grove Street Home. At least it was before I fucked everything up. Skylar went on to finish the recording process in the guest room on his vacation. Skylar returned back home with a brand new mixtape and was ready to release it. The date May 15th was selected. Skylar continued to work with best friend T-Lo, who he had known since the 5th grade.
I do pass out on casual C, probably from Girl Scout to Bees. Always trying to act, but shit, man, I am not your average kid. How you finna wrestle scripts if your mind is not practicing? Can't help fix sex right away. I mean, that's a life that I've been trying to change. It ain't nothing to help you numb the pain and get the fat body sucked in my waist. One thing for sure, that it's real, and it's hard to start that thrill. Making head a squirrel off that motherfucking pill for real. Always.
Many songs were recorded in T-Lo's kitchen. One of the songs became Run.
Run it up. Why they act so funny, bruh? Track the real for that money stuff. All my team, they gon' run it up. Run it up. Run it up.
Wake was released on SoundCloud May 15, 2017. Skylar set up a small event in Coelho, Illinois. The small concert featured Lil Smirk and SP. After the show, Skylar headed back to a friend's house to celebrate. After a few glasses of vodka, he had left again with 2 people he had just met that night. They headed into the Heron area, then the driver lost control of the wheel and the vehicle flipped 2 times, eventually landing in a cornfield. Skylar only suffered minor injuries and never seen them people ever again. Around this time, Skylar went back into hiding to heal and get back to work, eventually releasing a string of singles including Ghost Song.
Just cause I'm a ghost, I'm so cold. Really, I'm not good at anything but playing notes and blowing smoke and wrecking just about everything I touch. I suck, I need to go away. Inner thoughts blown away, a new place to roam away to.
The album Wake had minor success in the Franklin County area. At this point he had grown tired of the old party anthem routine. He knew he had a vision that was way brighter than what was popular at the time. The major SoundCloud charts were mostly topped by Lil Pump, Ugly God, Suicide Boys, XXXTentacion and others among the caliber. Skylar then envisioned a metaphorical characterization of feeling. He designed the character to look displeased, representing a white face with a gated mouth, to represent his feeling of being silenced and stricken to only one sound. This character was named Abbie Condice. Abbie was said to represent and display the anger and sadness he felt towards the world that he couldn't say himself. Also around this time, Skylar had been clean off of speed for the previous 2 years after serving a small stint in the county jail for possession around the tainted love era. He watched his close friends transform into people he thought he would never see. It was at this point, the writing became darker and more personal. This was the start of the 3rd mixtape 7.
To walk and you and baby friends. Been hiding mine, just getting by to try to make amends. This paradise ain't paradise unless I fix my head. This raw revenge is evident, I'm better off instead. Hello my world, hello to all, can we one day be friends? Conniving mine, just getting by to try to make amends. This paradise ain't paradise unless I fix my head. This raw revenge is evident, I'm better off instead.
Skylar continued to work with T-Lo and the rest of the RBNT family. Most of all the instrumentals for these mixtapes were downloaded for free, explaining the reason they only came out on SoundCloud. Shortly before the recording process, Skylar was invited to perform at the Junebug Jam in Yorkville, Illinois, put on by Hammock City Productions. This was Skylar's first successful show.
Let me hear some fucking noise! Come on, it's Junebug, people! Yeah!
I'm about to come kicking the system with a
Blackout, stupid bitch, don't let me pull the cash out. Max out, back out, gone super fast now.
7 was released as a SoundCloud-only tape, until shortly later showing up on YouTube. The mixtape had little to no reviews and received only 50 streams the first week. Skylar was unpleased about this. Around this time, the Red Bean crew started performing at Carbondale's Hangar 9 open mic nights.
Let me hear you fucking scream for that!
Skylar would give energetic and almost shocking performances every time, often offending staff at the establishment. The mixtape 7 had a short run, but was a tiny glimpse inside the mind of SP at the time. As the attention and fan base started to grow, Skylar continued to create and perform with his friends and have fun. Little did everyone know, Skylar wasn't near finished. Skylar was beginning to feel comfortable. His music was starting to hit home with a lot of people and the buzz was starting to circulate. Heartwork, the fourth installment in the Abbie Condice mixtape saga. The story had not yet been fully planned out, but the character Abbie itself underwent a little makeover. After finding a puffy-cheeked Halloween mask in a thrift store, Skylar added additional surgical-like changes to the face's appearance. Abbie's new look was set to be a sort of a doll, but at the same time protest the uppity mindsets of mainstream artists at the time. Also, the inflated ego of a selfish SP. This was said to be the biggest release of Skylar's catalog. At this time, Skylar had joined forces with T-Lo, cousin J Miko, who at the time was unfortunately incarcerated, Donnie Poe, Lil Smirk, and Gavin Bryce. Gavin Bryce had been making noise in the local scene and connected with Skylar for the first time on this mixtape. Bonds grew tighter, and shortly after the tape's release Gavin was added to Red Beam Money Team. The mixtape featured 23 tracks including the title track Heartwork. The music video for Lemon Bay FM 122.0 features J Miko. At the time, Jay had been serving time in prison. The beginning portion of the video that features this verse shows various video clips saved by Skylar over the past 3 years, eventually leading up to Skylar's solo performance of the track. The video was filmed on Main Street in Christopher, Illinois. Skylar continued to perform at the Hangar 9 and small local parties. Heartwork was released on April 15, 2019. This wasn't enough to fill the empty spot he felt inside, unfortunately. Skylar's drinking became more and more out of control. He still felt alone, and would often miss many calls from loved ones. The wounds of his past weren't healed. He would have nightmares every night, and became paranoid and anxious. These issues became worse and he felt no one could understand or help him. Heartwork's era was cut short, and partying became Skylar's main priority. The listenership started to decrease. Skylar became more and more angry. He knew his music was the only way to fight back. Around the beginning of August 2019, Skylar announced the fifth mixtape Vials was on the way.
Murder on the loose, catch them hanging from the noose, body swinging from the tree. I'll be satisfied, I need my lust is taste blood, my love is fake fucks, my time don't waste up, my lips I lace up and kill, cause it's the only thrill I get. Spill the blood, the rest I just digest, no one in my sight should have life left.
The recording sessions for Vials were graphic. Squally 2 times, legendary Springfield artist, connected with Skylar around the 7 era. During the Vials sessions, the two joined forces with T-Lo to create the side project LSD.
Looking at my problems, staring at the bottle. Pills got hard to swallow, living in Sleepy Hollow. Looking for my problems.
The Vials era was Skylar's most self-destructive era to date.
Suck my fucking dick.
Vile still remains on Skylar's YouTube channel. After the dust started to settle from the dramatic cycle of Viles, Skylar had some time to relax and watch the reactions of the fans. The mixtape had mixed emotions. Not everyone loved it or completely ignored it. The brutality of the content and songs also turned crowds away and got him denied booking. This upset him even more. Skylar would then take a 2-month hiatus. In this time he had found love, and began writing again. On December 17, 2020, the side project Venice was released.
She knows I like to groove, but I'm stuck on the loop, and I don't know about you.
This mixtape was the first tape of Skylar's catalog to feature longtime friend and brother J-So. Simulating the vacation flight, Squally 2 times opens the tape with a short message.
Welcome to Red Beam Flying Enterprises. You are now entering Venice.
This tape also features tracks such as the Malibu and Taylor Ranch freestyle.
She lets the bright lights shine, crying tears in the room. She lets the night fly by till the afternoon. I blew the candle out. I died inside. I couldn't handle how she died inside. Ice this cup, just fill it up for everyone in this world who feels so fucked up and beaten down. This ain't the last round.
A year after the Viles and LSD mixtapes were released, the world was hit with the COVID-19 pandemic. This stopped all live performances for Skylar and the rest of the team. Around March of 2020, Skylar began writing for another mixtape. Skylar would write a total of 4 songs a day, eventually leading to what would become the 6th mixtape in the Abbie Condice saga, Chapter 6, Beautiful Music for Dirty Souls. The character's appearance was altered once again, presenting a full-headed carved face mask to represent the damage of the hard work era. This mixtape featured returning features from Donnie Poe, Gavin Bryce, T-Lo and Young G Drip, later renamed Josie Hicks. The record was recorded in the newly built Leaders Radio studio. Skylar, Donnie and Gavin also launched a podcast titled The Chatter World Show, a topic-based talk show with a shock jock influence. Chapter 6 was released on May 10, 2020. The mixtape earned 30 streams the first week. The promotional push wasn't completely at play. The mixtape also had no live performances or music videos to promote the release due to the pandemic, so unfortunately this one was also overlooked. Shortly after Chapter 6, Skylar started writing for the follow-up release No.
Hey, you can find me at the cabana with my feet up, rolling sweet up.
Just a filter, what's
I don't
the
get
game
no
in?
fucking sleep up with my drinks up.
Maybe one day we'll meet again.
Abbie's face was dyed dark gray to represent the passion inside of him, which has now dried out. The mixtape consisted of a hard industrial hip-hop sound with influences of alternative rock. The mixtape had no features though. The crew Red Beam Money Team has by this time fallen apart. Artists started to go their own ways and lose working connections with each other. The team did however gather together for the final Red Beam EP, Red Beam Money Team Volume 2, Respect is Everything.
Baby girl, tell me how you living?
How you living?
What you smoking?
What
you sipping?
What you sipping, bitch?
Hey, baby girl, tell me how you living? How you living? How you living? Yeah, yeah. 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 Yeah, baby girl, tell me what you sipping?
What you sipping?
Hey, baby girl.
The mixtape did well around the 618 area. At the time, the United States had been in protests against police brutality. No was set to be the loudest and most blatant protest against the country and the people he felt weren't listening to him. Around this time, the music video for Planets featuring J-So was filmed and directed by videographer Television.
I've been searching planets on this trip again, trying to get onto you. I've been searching planets on this trip again, trying to get onto you. I've been searching planets on this trip again, trying to get onto you.
live shows were still at halt, so Skylar put together a sting of live stream Facebook performances featuring J-So, Donnie Poe and Gavin Bryce. The stream was sonically damaged, but still is available on Facebook. Due to the scary state of the nation at the time, live shows were once again halted for this mixtape as well. The mixtape Nil was released in October of 2020. Skylar's world was changed once again after the release of Nil. His second daughter was born in November of 2020. Skylar took another 2 to 3 month hiatus from releasing music, until returning to collaborate once again with the release of LSD Part 2.
I'm on a trip, would you like to come with and see the pain on the other side of the moon? While I refuse to live inside of a room where the door is locked and I can't get out.
Shortly after a few months off, Skylar returned back into the studio, but this time with a different idea. The saga of Abbie Condice has lasted a long 4 years at this point. Skylar wanted to make not only a mixtape, but the final chapter in the story of Abbie. Abbie was the representation of all evil, sadness, anxiousness, lust and desire wrapped into one. Skylar was still heavily dependent on alcohol, which he stated would bring Abbie out a lot, in ways that hurt people. The last mixtape of the saga was titled Zero, and this mixtape was going to be the last time we visit Planet Z. Abbie's new look took on the shape of a classy alien with comedic slurs.
Hey, you human waste. SKYLARPENDERGAST Zero, the last chapter, coming June 15th, all platforms. And don't take it from me, ask comedian Jim Norton how good this album is.
He stinks, and I don't like him.
The writing process all took place at Leaders Radio Studios, and recording started not long after the plot and setting for the tape was lined out. Skylar had made some new connections in music, even stretching as far as the East London and Cape Town areas of South Africa. Skylar collaborated with artists Nome Ivy and Stray Sean for the single Goku Shit remix.
London with every strain. If it crash, I now the shit die in vain. I'm a little off the meter, but I'm off the chain. You can say that you're a leader, but we're not the same. One dead tech bitch, I'm a half the game. And whack these lames, you think they can pass the lane. I'm on go-go, got your favorite fucking rapper in a chokehold. I go loco, not a four, but it's supposed to. I'm smoking and sipping and losing my focal points.
The two also made appearances on Skylar's next mixtape. Skylar always envisioned his imagination to be another world, another planet, Planet Z. As the drinking wouldn't stop, he felt his creativity had been destroyed. The album begins with Abbie singing about the destruction he has found after returning home to find the planet of Z destroyed.
World's turning fast enough for us to fall in place. A winter fall embrace. I'm standing on this bridge thinking, should I just jump or fight today?
This message was a metaphor for Skylar's loss of passion and creativity. The mixtape had features from Gavin Bryce, Mini Monsters, Nome Ivy, Keaton Moth.
It's your boy J-So.
The mixtape displays the ending track Spirit Box, which was a dedication and message to his friend Travis Craig, who had passed away that year.
I could have answered, I could have been there. If I could stop it, then it would be clear. You were just magic, brothers in arms just as tragic. My head just can't stand no more guilt trip and madness. People around me just don't understand it. I want you back here, goddammit, I demand it. This pressure's no good, I need patience to stand and make sure you're known throughout millions of lands. Tell me where my little heart can...
Zero had a long promotion period, including several flyer posts and videos circulating social media. Skylar was also invited to open up for a rap group PGR.
I'll get you better now. You ready to hear this fucking song, man? Yeah! This song is called Plasma. I need to see this motherfucker jump. Let's go!
That means I'll go about some shit that they adore. Let's try to find time to find the best reason to rehab. Let's go.
Let me hear your voice, food.
Around this time, Skylar had made all previous releases available on streaming platforms. The streams grew instantly. Skylar took down the mixtapes including Zero during the middle of the promo run. Shortly before that, Skylar tapped a full concert set from Leaders Radio Studios. Due to the lack of live show availability at the time, the full set still remains on his YouTube channel today. Skylar also at this time recorded and released the heavy metal EP, October 2nd. Zero was released on June 15, 2021 and was removed from streaming services shortly after, but still is available on Skylar's SoundCloud page along with the previous releases. The saga of Abbie Condice was a long, brutal ride. As Skylar began to grow and learn new things, another move was made. Skylar had been experimenting with beat production during each mixtape cycle, either by adding additional keys or other fragments. Skylar decided it was time to say goodbye to the type beat lifestyle. The alcohol use extended to extreme height, and Skylar had endured a short-term separation from his at the time fiancée. He was all alone once again. At this time he felt it was time to say goodbye to another friend. His best friend, Abbie, had to go. Skylar began to produce beats and write lyrics for what would become his debut album, Zenith.
Coming soon from Leaders Entertainment District. The brand new album from SKYLARPENDERGAST. The story of erasing the past. The story of regret. The finding of love and the harsh reality of death.
This July,
we say hello to Planet Earth's new beautiful problem, Zenith.
This is momentum mixed thinly with venom, so step the fuck back, cause I'm happy to send them directly to hell under stuff that I've given the simplest minds with a mouth for a this is a taste of your own medicine, motherfucker. Ask for it by name, heavy doses are given. It might never work cause you humans are stupid. Reality checks take a minute to kick in like
15 brand new tracks,
all produced entirely by Spaceboy,
including the singles The Me I've Known.
my eyes won't look intoxicated with the chase they'll never know.
And Love 187.
187 for your love. I can't text it, oh, I can't take it. I'm so used to this rush. I'm so amused and stuck.
This July,
no one is safe.
SKYLARPENDERGAST, Zenith. Coming soon to all music streaming platforms.
The story goes, Abbie, after traveling lost in space for years, builds a robotic servant to keep him company. The album begins with Abbie having a schizophrenic argument with himself while constructing it. After an anxious push off an incorrect button, the spaceship explodes shortly after Zenith wakes up, leaving nobody to survive but the lone robot. The robot Zenith is left to explore and learn the open galaxy alone. The track The Birth of Zenith displays the entire scenario. The lyrical content of the track explains a person's past vanishing and the person learning to grow, heal, and do better.
If you go, stuck come back around. I got a voice inside, an ounce of pride in a brain so hide with the noise inside when it smells so bright and the heart so cold.
The track Oceans Below is a vulgar display of Skylar looking into the mirror addressing his alcoholic issues. The track November is his heartfelt message to his fiancée.
Take me way back to sometime in November. Can we dance again?
The track 10 is Zenith crying for a friend to save him from his star-filled purgatory.
I'm still searching for somewhere past the moon with 10 new stars.
The entire album of Zenith is a message of growth and commitment. Shortly before the Zenith era, Skylar joined the rock band Flight Risk as the drummer and sampler. During the Zenith promo run, Skylar encountered a two-city show run with stops in East St. Louis and Springfield. The album Zenith was released July 20, 2022 and is available on all streaming platforms.
What is that? Dude. But this man is speaking about asses in his face. I don't care for that. Depends on the ass. Besides, it's different. You want it different. Yes, but I wanted, like, Beatles different, not bottoms all up in my grill different. You picky bastard.
Fuck it, I'm running for office. Compared to you bitches, yes, I'm on a pedestal. Nothing can ever be labeled inventable. I'm trying to see if the surface is bendable. Got a cute angel here loading a massively heavy blow. Right after sucking my dick, it's incredible. Fantastic for worthless work, I'm a human source. Time of the month, bitch, I'm bringing the heavy flow. Riding the wave with a bulletproof boogie board. Strapped with a middle finger too extendable. Fuck everyone, I'm not easily friendable. Bad little groupie, she's easily flexible. Not really sexual, still hit the section. No, I'm like a Jimi Hendrix with his chemical. Mixing of serotonin with the medical. Fixing of Sarasota with a new topic called up for anyone thinking they're eligible.
What? This is not the Beatles. It's practically the Beatles. In what world? They're talking about sticking toes in asses. So, the Beatles sung about living in a yellow submarine. And seriously, out of the two scenarios, you're more likely to get a toe stuck in your ass than live in a yellow submarine. And frankly, if 4 guys are living in a yellow submarine for an extended period of time, it's inevitable that there's going to be some toe-ass play going on. Well, perhaps. So now that this has been thoroughly explained to your rather dim-witted mind, you may now sample the next track. Oh, well, lucky me.
187 for your love. I can't text it, oh, I can't take it. I'm so used to this rush. I'm so amused and stuck. 187 for your love.
Dude, just because it doesn't conform to your standard concept of music and lyrical content doesn't make it bad. At least they're pushing musical boundaries rather than sucking the balls of normality. I don't care whose balls they are not sucking, they certainly won't be sucking mine. Well, even if you don't like the music, the record itself has 1,000 uses. Like what? Oh my army! It can be used to drive away dumbass customers who want something different and then complain when they get it. Well, it certainly worked on me. Fuck you! Yeah, you have a good day too.
Epsilon, can't fly, I'm living on 24 hours a day, I put my city on. Bitch, I feel like King Kong on a city wrong. See me on TV with a rope and a bikini on. Ready to show the weather lady a whole nother storm. Then you rip off my face.
Now Skylar lives in Coelho, Illinois. He has reconnected with his family and has been reportedly sober and well. Skylar still creates art and music. He continues to produce and co-run Leaders Radio alongside J-So, Donnie Poe, and Gavin Bryce. He recently released the single The Silence Is Too Loud and announced a new mixtape coming soon called Computer. If you enjoyed this film, please hit like and subscribe. Let us know who you want to hear about next, and always support local music.